Hi everyone, welcome to EnglishTube. Today we are going to deal with a basic grammar lesson, which is the infinitive or gerund. Today we are going to answer two basic questions: how to form the infinitive and how to form the gerund, and when to use the infinitive and when to use the verb let's say in the gerund, because the infinitive and the verb and the gerund I say are two, let's say, verb forms. So let's start right now with number one, forming the gerund or the infinitive. And number one right now, the infinitive. So the infinitive form here of a verb is usually preceded by to. It means to plus, let's say, the verb base. For example, to run, to read, to think, to travel, to like, and so on and so forth. So the word to here is not a preposition. It's not a real preposition. In this case, it is just the sign of the infinitive. Okay? Good. Let's see right now the following points. The infinitive, anyway, within a sentence can be used as a noun, adjective, or as an adverb. Example: to travel abroad was his dream. So the verb in the infinitive form here is to travel. Okay, so it is used as a noun. To travel abroad is what? It is was his dream. Okay, or traveling again abroad was his dream. We can use it in the gerund form too. So number two, his ambition was to travel abroad. Okay, the same thing on the other way around. We can say his ambition was what? Was to travel abroad or traveling abroad. So it is used here to travel as a noun. And again, number three, they need water to drink. Okay, to drink here is an adjective. Okay, it's used here. The infinitive here is used to describe water. What sort of water they need to? It's let's say a pure drinking water. It's pure drinking water. And the last example here, the officer returned to help. Okay, so to help here in the infinitive is used as an adverb, right? Good. Let's go ahead right now. So after certain verbs, the word to is dropped. Okay, so the infinitive is not always to plus verb base, but there are in certain very few cases in which you can find a verb takes no to. Okay, you can find a verb, an infinitive form without to. Okay, so with certain verbs, okay, there's those verbs. We can take example of the verb help, right? Make and then let. These are some of the examples. Okay, very few examples in which the infinitive takes no preposition or no to anyway. So example: I helped her tidy the balcony. So to here is dropped, as you can see here. Tidy. We didn't see here I helped her to tidy. If you say to tidy, it's okay, it's no problem, right? But it's better, of course, to do without it, okay, in order not to make your sentence so wordy and redundant. Number two, they made him wait for a day. To here again is dropped from to wait. Okay, so you can also say they made him to wait for a day, but it's better again to say they made him wait. Okay, you can do without to because the verb does not require, let's say, this particle or preposition. Good. Let's go on right now. So let's move to number two, the gerund, forming the gerund right now. So a gerund is simply it is a noun formed by adding the suffix ing to a verb. A gerund is a noun form in a way. It is a noun form, and it can be formed by adding ing at the end of a verb. Okay, let's see some examples. You've got the verb swim, we add ing and then we say swimming. Run, we say running. Drink, the gerund is drinking. Study, studying. Lie, lying, right? Die, dying. Drive, at the end, driving, right? So the gerund is formed simply by adding ing at the end of a verb, and it functions as a noun. So although the gerund is a noun, it can still take an object. Okay, it can functions as a verb and then takes an object. This is known as what we call the gerund complement. Let's see an example. Playing video games is easier than it seems. So here the object's video games is considered a gerund complement. Okay? Gerunds look identical to present participle. Right? Adjectives formed from verbs. This is what we call present participle. Okay? Adjectives formed from verbs, like like interest, interesting, amaze, amazing, right? Run, running, drink, drinking, and so on. Okay, it can the gerund here in this situation is identical to present participle, right? Certain forms of adjectives anyway with ing at the end. So let's see some examples. Number one, running the tap. Running the tap will empty the tube. Running the tap will empty the tube. So running here is the verb run in the gerund form, okay? And it functions here, of course, as a noun. It is considered a noun here. Alright? Now, number two, can you fix the running tap? Alright? Running here again this is what we call the present participle, okay? It's a gerund, but it is identical here in this situation to an adjective, okay? Running tap. Drinking, right? Drinking water, to drink water and then drinking water, okay? Good, it functions here as an adjective. Great. Let's move on right now to the use of the gerund or the infinitive. Using the gerund first. Use the gerund after certain verbs as follow. There are certain verbs with which you have to use the gerund, okay? You got the verb admit, advise, allow, appreciate, anticipate, avoid, complete, can't help, this phrase, okay? Can't stand, and then consider, delay, deny, go, enjoy, escape, fancy, finish, forget, hate, imagine, involve, like, dislike, mention, mind, miss, permit, postpone, and then practice. Okay, there are so many verbs, but these are some of the most common verbs with which you have to use the gerund, okay? If you have any problem understanding any of these verbs listed in this video, right, you can just post a comment asking, let's say, for clarification. And then you got here again more words, okay? You can find the verb prefer, quit, recommend, reject, resist, risk, mention, miss, start, stop, suggest, understand, and so on, right? So those are, let's say, the verbs that you have to use, let's say, with the words, right, that requires, let's say, using the gerund. Now we can use again the gerund after certain verbs, but here with in this case with prepositions. There are certain verbs with prepositions that require, let's say, using the gerund. Let's say example, for instance, accuse of, adjust to, agree with, apologize for, approve of, ask about, ask for, begin by, believe in, be used to, blame for, care for, carry on, complain about, congratulate someone or somebody on, concentrate on, consist of, cope with, decide against, decide for, and then depend on. More verbs, you got dream about or dream of, escape from, feel like, forget for, give up, get used to, insist on, and so on, right? Keep on, again, look forward to, object to, pay for, prevent somebody from something, right? Protect from, put off, rely on, reproach for, spend money on, spend time on, specialize in, right, in generating or whatsoever, succeed in, suspect of, and so on. And again, yes, there are more verbs, I think, here. Yes, so we got take part in, talk about or of, think for, think of, use for, warn someone or somebody against something, and then worry about, and so on. So these are verbs anyway that you have to use with prepositions that require the use in the gerund. And again, we can use the gerund after certain adjectives with or with no preposition. For instance, afraid of, accustomed to, addicted to, angry about or at, anxious about, bad at, bored of, busy, right? I was busy working. Capable of, clever at, committed to, concerned about, content with, dedicated to, devoted to, disappointed with or about, excited about, famous for, fed up with. Fond of, frightened of, guilty of, glad about, good at, happy about, and then impressed by, involved in, interested in, keep on, known for. We say here keen on, right? We say here I'm keen on speaking English. I'm keen on drawing or something like that, meaning that you like it very much. Known for, and you're committed to it, yes. Known for or famous for. Worth. Here, of course, this adjective does not require any preposition. We say this lesson is worth watching, right? Or worth studying. Proud of, remembered for, responsible for, scared of, worried about, sorry about, terrified of, tired of or from, and then use it to. And again, we can use the gerund after certain nouns with or with no prepositions. Advantage of, addiction to, alternative of, anxiety about, or anxiety rather, or I say, anxiety about, believe in, or belief in, chance of, choice between, credit for, danger of, dedication to, delaying, devotion to, difficulty in, disadvantage of, doubt about, experience in, fear of, fondness for, fan, habit of, hope of, idea of, interest in, knowledge of, love of, method of, memory of, opportunity of, place for, pleasure in, point in, possibility of, problem, process of, reaction to, reason for, report on, reputation for, responsibility for, story about, talent for, and then trouble. When you say here, for instance, I have trouble setting up my computer. I have trouble working out this equation or something like that, right? Good. Now let's move on to the use of the infinitive, right? Use the infinitive after certain verbs with or with no to, okay? You got here the verb afford, agree, aim, appear, say appear to, right? Arrange, I arrange to travel or to do something, right? Attempt to, be determined to, care to, choose to, claim to, condescend to, consent to, dare, right? With or without to. Say dare doing something, dare say something, or dare to do it, and so on, yes. Decide to, demand to, deserve, determine, expect to, fail to, right? And then guarantee to, happen to, have to, right? I have to do something, yes. Help, this verb as we have seen before, okay, can be used with to or with no to, okay. I help to or help do something, yes. Hesitate, okay. Hope to, and then learn to do something. I learn to speak English, I learn to write English, and so on. Long to, manage to, mean to, need to do something, neglect, offer, refuse to do something, seem to, right? Stop to do something, right? The verb stop here, there are certain verbs in addition to stop that can be used with the gerund and the infinitive, and we're going to see this later on. Swear to, tend to, threaten to, trouble to, and then use it to, okay? Good. Volunteer, want to, wish to, would hate to, would like to, right? Say I'd like to do something, or I'd love, and then would prefer, I'd prefer to. Okay, so these are verbs in a way that can be used, let's say, with the right, certain verbs that requires, let's say, using the infinitive form. Now, using the gerund or the infinitive, okay, when it comes to certain verbs like stop, remember, try, forget, there are certain verbs which can be used with both gerund or the infinitive, okay? And in this situation we have two cases. There are certain verbs which can be used with the gerund and the infinitive without any change or any difference as far as the meaning is concerned. And the case number two is that the verb can be used with the gerund and can be also be used with the infinitive, but with different meaning, okay? And we're going to right now to see the both cases, okay? So let's start with the case number one, words with the same meaning, okay? I mean, the verb can be used with the gerund and the infinitive and have the same meaning, okay, without any difference in terms of meaning, okay? These are some of the verbs which can be used in this case, okay? Example, we say I started to read, and then I started reading, okay? You got to read and then reading in this sentence. One in the first case in the infinitive and the second in the gerund, but there is no difference in terms of meaning, okay? So there are more verbs that can be used in the let's say in the same case. You got the verb attempt, okay? I attempt to do something, or I attempt to doing it, so there is no difference in meaning. Begin, again, I begin to do something, it's the same like start, or I begin doing it, right? It's the same. Bother, cannot bear or cannot stand, yes. Seize, I seize, right? Okay, or let's say certain something, right? Seize it doing something, or cease to, okay? And then continue, and then hates, right? Intend, love, like, neglect, okay? So in this case, okay, these verbs can be used with both the gerund and the infinitive without any change in terms of meaning, okay? Good. You got again propose, prefer, and then start, okay? Great. Let's move to right now the case number two, words with difference in meaning, right? With different meanings, or with difference in meaning, yes. There are certain verbs right now, as we said, with can be used, let's say, with the gerund, and also can be used with the infinitive, but there is a difference in meaning when they are used as let's say gerunds, and when they are used as infinitives. And here are some examples. Let's take the word, for instance, the verb forget or remember, okay? So here the regard, when you say, for instance, let's take the two examples. Example number one here, remember to switch off the lights. Remember, I say to my child, for instance, I'm going out, and then I tell, right, for instance, to my son, remember, James, remember to switch off the lights. Then I go out, okay? So your attention here, remember to switch off the lights. So the regard here, the regard or the vision is toward the future, okay? I mean, switching off the light is not something that happened in the past, but this is something I'm drawing attention, something that, right, is supposed or expected to happen, let's say, in the future, sooner or later, okay? So in this situation, we in this sense, or in this meaning, we use the infinitive, okay? Remember to switch the light, okay? To switch off the light, to switch off this something that will occur, let's say, in the future, sooner or later. Now, when it is used in the gerund form, do you remember switching off the lights? Okay, I told my son to switch off the lights when I went out, okay? And later on, when I came back, I asked him, right, do you remember switching off the lights? Okay, so switching off the light is something that, right, happened, took place, let's say, in the past, okay? So the regard here is to, let's say, the sentence or the meaning is toward the past and not toward the future, okay? Do you remember switching on the lights? Good. So the same thing we can, right, say about the words, certain verbs like forget and so on, okay? Let's move on to second example, go on. Good. This is a phrasal verb anyway. So let's take the example number 1. Go on to read. Okay. When I tell you, right, go on to read, okay, it means start reading. Okay, start doing something, right? You have not been doing it, right? So this is the first time, okay, you're going to start doing it, right? Okay, good. So this is, in this meaning we use the infinitive. But now when I say go on reading, okay, so you started reading, and then I tell you, then you stopped for a while, then I asked you to go on reading, okay, to carry on or continue reading, okay? So it means continue with the same action. In this situation, we use the gerund, okay? Go on reading. The gerund here means that here the action in the gerund means that you started doing something, right? Then you stopped for a while, and then you continue doing it, right? So in this situation, we use the gerund, okay? Good. Yes, you got here again. Let's see more example. You got the word here stop, okay? So stop here, the verb stop. And if in the first example in the infinitive form, we've got I stopped to smoke. This means, okay, or say for instance, James said, I stopped to smoke. This means that this action of smoking, right, is not something that, let's say, James, right, used to do or has been doing, okay? But he used it, he was doing something different, okay? He has been doing something different. Then he stopped doing that, right, in order to do something new, which is to smoke, right? And number 2, I stopped smoking. It means to terminate. It means that James, for instance, used it to smoke, used it to be a heavy smoker, and so on. Then he stopped smoking. He never, or he no longer smokes. He no longer smokes. Okay, it means here smoking in the infinitive, in the gerund form, means terminate. Or give up. Great. So let's move on to the last example here. Try to solve this riddle, and then try talking to him. So when I say try to solve this riddle, when I use here the verb try in the infinitive form, this means do something complicated, okay? To do something that requires a heavy burden, that requires a big effort, okay? That requires an effort, a big effort, okay? We say, I try to solve this problem. I try to work out this equation, to solve this riddle, and so on, okay? So when it comes to this meaning, right? When it means that when there is an effort, okay, in what you do, when there is right, a challenge and so on, when something is so complicated, here in this situation, I use the verb try with the infinitive. I try to do something, right? But when something is so easy, it doesn't require any effort, you can just do it and see what is happening. So you can use in this situation the try talking to him, try doing something. Can you try, right, doing this and so on, right? When it doesn't require any effort at all. So I hope this lesson is so fruitful and of great utility for you, okay? So for practice, you need to go, let's say, to navigate to the interactive quizzes on EnglishTube, and then you will find, let's say, dozens, let's say, of exercises about the infinitive or gerund. Interactive exercises, you can just do them, right? And I'll receive all, write your results and so on online. So if you have any question or any comment or any word or anything that you did not grasp, let's say, in this lesson, please don't hesitate to post comments and your suggestions or questions or whatsoever. See you next time. Thank you very much for watching.